this is Diana from Artfully Yours, and I'm looking right now through my journal of unwasted paint, which I just wipe paint in there any old way for when I have unused paint on my paint palette. Sometimes it's not just any old way. I think about like dabbing it in patterns. So now I selected a paper that both sides I'm going to use for torn paper strips, a torn paper strips technique that's good, that can be used in art, can be used in any kind of mixed media art, and I'm using it in an art journal. This art journal is going to be a reference for me. I'm tearing the paper now, and I'm making sure I'm tearing with the grain of the paper. If you don't tear with the grain of the paper, you cannot get straight, one long continuous straight rip. It doesn't happen, and I show in a few minutes what happens when you try to rip against the grain of the paper. And different papers are different. Sometimes it's lengthways, sometimes it's widthwise of you have to test it at to see where the grain of the paper is on your paper. So on the front, I'm flipping the strips back and forth alternately between the color and pattern, because on one side there's mainly pinkish colors and on the other side is mainly purplish blue colors, and I'm alternating that pattern in this strip, in these paper strips. And I'd like to thank and acknowledge Kat Hand at her at her Facebook group, Mixed Media Morsels, which she shows us almost on a weekly basis all different kinds of techniques to be used in art journaling for backgrounds or any other kind of little ideas that can be used for our future art journaling or mixed media art. And now we're going to end up by the end of the year, we'll have a nice reference art journal book to look back through to give us ideas for. Now I am ripping the paper against the grain, and as you can see, it rips just in little pieces. It ripped out. It will not rip in one long continuous piece. I try to rip it, and that was near the end, and I try to rip it, and it just it rips off in pieces instead of one continuous piece like that. So it'll be nice by the end of the year to have what they call little more, like we're supposed to be working in a small journal, even smaller than mine. Mine is 5x8 journal, and Kat Hand herself is working like on a 3x3 inch journal. So it'll end up just being a nice reference art journal to look through, to give us ideas for, I want to use that kind of background, like alcohol dripping background or plastic wrap. You do a technique with plastic wrap and paint, could use that background. It's not all just backgrounds either, but I'll link her down below. Definitely check out Mixed Media Morsels. It's a wonderful, for me, it's a wonderful learning experience, because I'm for this year, I'm new. For the past couple months, I'm new to art journaling. Basically since February, I'm new to art journaling. So I'm just using matte medium. And in the end, the white does show through, and if you like that white showing through of the paper strip edges on the journal page itself, you can leave it, but I went back in and touched up those little white spaces with paint. And there I'm just showing, I'm using Liquitex brand of mixed media, what a matte medium. So I'm brushing on the matte medium to stick it on, and I'm also using it a sealer or type of varnish for the top of it, and it gives it a nice matte sheen. There's all different things you can do with this paper strips technique. Mine looks quite different than the technique that Cat Hand had taught us, and so you need to definitely check out that video to see other ways how this paper strip technique can be done. And now I'm drying it with my heat dryer, and I'm showing, you can see the uncut edges. One technique is to actually cut off the edges, but in this case I really liked the raw uneven edges. So now I'm just showing close up. The colors are so rich and vibrant, I love them. The gold is in there, and the pink, and blues and violets. Then I had left it like that for a while, and I kept looking at like the spiral in the middle, and I thought, oh, that it just glares out at me. So actually this morning I'd had this idea. I went in this morning with wire, beads, and feathers to help conceal that metal spiral, the middle part, and I really think that adds a tremendous touch to this. Of course, now I cannot close my journal all the way, but that's okay. And I'm kind of rearranging there to try to conceal more of the metal spiral. So thank you for watching, and please like, comment, or subscribe, and check out one of my last videos. That was another way I used paper strips in actually a beach scene, and I used painted paper and ripped the strips to look like water. Thank you.